Hi, my name's Mo Bunnell, and I'm founder and CEO of Bunnell Idea Group. I get asked all the time, how did Bunnell Idea Group start? How did big begin? And maybe it's because we have such a unique client base, people that do really expert-driven technical work, but also have to drum up more of it. Or maybe it's because we've trained 10,000 people, or maybe it's that the system is so comprehensive with 17 modules and over 600 pages of IP. Whatever the reason is, the uniqueness drives people to wonder, how did we start? But here's the thing, it started by accident. It started about 20 years ago when I was an actuarial student. I was studying the actuarial exams and I needed to pass all of them to get my own credentials, Fellow of the Society of Actuaries. A series of, at the time, 24 exams that I had to pass with pass rates of 35, 36, 37%. 2/3 of the people are failing. And I had to get through these 24 exams as fast as possible so that I could have the FSA after my name. I did that, and then something really unique happened, a plot twist. I loved being a technical actuary. I loved being a healthcare consultant at Hewitt Associates, where I was at the time. But Hewitt came to me and I sort of jointly went to them, and collaboratively we decided that they would love and I would love to be in a broader business development role called managing consultant. So all of a sudden, on the very month I passed my last exam, after all these years of work and 8,000 or 10,000 hours of study, I went from being a deep technical expert in a craft to having to lead broad client relationships at some of the biggest clients that Hewitt had worldwide. I was scared to death. What got me here wasn't going to get me there. Now my bonus was hitched on client satisfaction and client growth and things like that, as opposed to being a great technical expert in a very narrow field. Scared to death, I went to my boss and asked, where's the manual? How do I learn? How do I study? I was used to studying. How do I study to be great at business development? And my boss said, Mo, there's no manual. You just treat the client right. And he slapped me on the back and he walked down the hall and I just stared at the wall. There had to be more to it than that. I didn't want to fail. So I started taking people to lunch. I started taking people to dinner that I looked up to that were great at this. They all had a piece of a system and not the whole thing. I started reading books. I started to dig into the citations at the back of the book to understand the peer-reviewed research of behavioral scientists and psychologists. What was myth and what was fact? How could I sort it all through? Having been taught to learn how to learn as the actuarial exams teach you, I started taking notes, I started studying them, and all that research turned into sort of a white paper that I wrote just to myself. I didn't think anybody would ever be interested in this thing, but I wrote it to myself. It started out with 3 pages, 4, it ended up being 30, 40, 50 pages long, and it started to be the beginnings of a system for how to do business development. The process started paying off. Within just a few years, I was managing 2 of the 4 largest worldwide clients, almost $70 million in revenue. That's when $70 million meant something. And I was asked to be location leader for one of the largest centers Hewitt had around the world, 700 folks in Atlanta. I was asked to manage a quarter of the United States business development force. All these things taught me that I actually loved the craft of business development even more than my original craft of being an actuary. So I left. I decided to start Bunnell Idea Group and use this platform that we had started to help others with the same issue. Folks that were experts in a craft but now had to learn a new skill, the skill of business development. Since then, we've developed 17 modules that cover every single last aspect of business development for the frontline person that has to grow client relationships. We've built an additional 6 modules on leadership training. How do you manage those folks to do a great job of what they do? We've trained over 10,000 people around the world at over 300 organizations, and the message has come back to us time and time again that people didn't know there was a system to learn business development to every bit of the depth that there was to learn the system of their core craft. And that's the message I want to leave you with. Business development can be learned. It is a myth when people say, oh, only Jane is good at it, or only Kareem is good at it. This is a craft that can be learned when it's broken down into little bite-sized chunks. Those are practiced, and it's built back up into the fluid field of everyday life. There's 3 ways you can reach out to us and get some value. One is sign up for our newsletters. You'll get amazing tips and tricks on how the craft of business development can be learned and applied in a way that your clients will love. The second way is just reach out to us. We'd love to be helpful in any way that we can and talk about our custom trainings that we do at clients all over the world. The third way is you might be ready to sign up for a class. You can do that right here on the side and come to one of the many public classes that we do all year long. So if you're someone who has one foot in the delivery of complicated services and one foot in the drumming up of more business like it, or if you're somebody who's a leader that's managing folks in that situation and you'd like a validated, comprehensive system based on over 120 behavioral science and psychology studies, then Grow Big is a perfect fit for you.